Right.
So I guess when this was changed, it's a different format. Because even last year was done differently. It was also.
Yeah, I missed last year.
You ready?
And I think yeah, last year there were only 2 items in the
You ready?
packet.
You ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
Was everybody able to sign in?
Because everybody was saying, even if it was up at the, not the fort, the museum, or different monies were
Yes,
going to that.
yes. For Bill Memorial Library, for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see a dot on his shirt.
I don't know if you want to man the room. Maybe chill.
Yeah. Things change, always the paperwork gets less and less.
We stopped putting one in the last people who we know.
Okay. All right. Good evening. Welcome to the City of Groton Annual Budget Meeting for Monday, June 6th, 2022. Call the meeting to order. Clerk?
Thank you. So all electors and citizens, this is the call meeting to order. All electors and citizens qualified to vote in the City of Groton Annual Budget Meeting are hereby notified and warned to assemble at the Annual Budget Meeting, City Municipal Building, 295 Meriden Street, Groton, Connecticut, on Monday, June 6th, 2022 at 7 p.m. prevailing time for the purpose of acting on the following matters below the budget. I will also give you the warning of electors in accordance with Section 7.6 of the General Statute of the State of Connecticut, as amended. Only an elector of the City of Groton or a citizen of the United States of the age of 18 years old or more who jointly or severally and liable to the city for taxes assessed against him, her, or assessment of not less than $1,000 on the last completed grand list of the City of Groton, or who would be so liable if not entitled to an exemption, a blind person, a veteran, a widow, or parent of a veteran would be entitled to vote at this meeting. As of right now, the city clerk, Edward Jacome, counted the persons qualified to vote in the meeting of City of Groton. There were 17 electors and qualified citizens present.
Okay. We'll move to item 1, to appropriate for the fiscal, I'll take a motion to appropriate for the fiscal year July 1, 2022 to June 30, 2023, the sum of the accounts and purposes set forth in the proposed annual budget as published in the day on May 23rd, 2022, and in full on the City of Groton website at www.cityofgroton.com, and levy a tax and other incomes to cover the appropriations approved at this meeting for the fiscal year July 1st, 2022 and June 30th to June 30th, 2023. Said tax to be collected July 1st, 2022. We have a motion and a second. Okay. I will now open the floor to citizens' comments. Is there any citizens who would like to speak? Okay, please come up to the lectern, state your name and your address, and you have 5 minutes.
Deborah Patrick, 8 Mellow Avenue. It's MELLOW. I just have a couple of comments. I'm going to repeat what I said at the public hearing, that one of the increases that was put in the budget.
Can you speak louder and speak into the microphone so
Sorry.
we can hear you?
Okay. I'm going to repeat what I said at the public hearing, that one of the increases for an employee I feel is inappropriate. It's a lot of money at 46% over what their current salary is. And when that budget was presented to the council, I was surprised that certain questions weren't asked. One of the questions I would have asked was there a change in the job description that would justify such a large increase? Is that employee eligible to be paid overtime, which if they're working extra, pay them overtime instead of giving them a huge increase that goes over the course of an entire year and then goes on from year to year over that? And whether or not any of the proposed projects that have come forth from that department have actually been completed. And that's the end of my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Anyone else like to speak? Please come to the table, state your name and address. You have 5 minutes.
Portia Bordelon, 24 Jefferson Drive, Groton, Connecticut. First off, I just would encourage in future, maybe this, budget, I did watch all the meetings that I could, but this presentation would be nice to have it broken down. If you just happen to glance at a meeting, it really doesn't explain where that money's going in that line. I know in the town, when we do our final budget, we do break it down, and that's part of our handout. So that would be one way to be a little bit more transparent and just have an idea to be able to review, and it would be helpful to people at home. When looking at this, though, and after I did go digging and watching the meetings, coming off of a COVID year, I'm seeing and looking at these line items as you have written out in your major headings here, and obviously there's more description as you go under it. I'm seeing a lack of money going towards human resources and our community in need post-COVID. I also don't see what your plan is for your ARPA funds that you're receiving. That somehow should be also delineated. Any funds and grants that you have received in the city of Groton, usually that's broken down on another line as well, because it also kind of tells you not only what the taxpayer is doing, but what the town and city is bringing in, so where those funds are being allocated. I did send an email to all of the town councilors looking at folks that may live in or represent low income. I see that they sometimes have trouble with the fees and dues for the beach. And I just would encourage, post-COVID that, since I can't see your ARPA fund allegations here, and even, what you're doing to help people in need in our community, that you're looking towards funding folks in need, maybe cutting down the pass for the beach if people have a financial need. And ways in which you as a city, which has the more diverse part of the whole town and city combined, looking to see where in your budget you're really actually hitting the community that's most in need. And that this budget really doesn't explain it, or as I dug, I did not see. I understand that the town side has the human resource department with the food pantry, but it does mean that the city side could be donating and making sure that they're also doing their fair share to make sure folks in need on the town side as well. So I hope to see that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Okay, hearing that, I will put the item to vote. All in favor signify by raising your hand, or signify by raising your hand, then we'll need to count. You get it? Okay. All opposed? Okay. And those who are abstaining? Okay. Does that add up to the total? Yes. Okay. We'll move on to the second item. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the following meetings. City of Groton Annual Budget Meeting Minutes of June 7th, 2021. We have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
I just would like to add a comment on that. Again, I think it would be important to add, when you're discussing these numbers, a little bit more detail in the minutes as well, for reference of, just making sure that not everybody can attend every meeting, and the more detail, the better. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay, thank you. Those that are opposed? Those that abstain? Did you get those that abstain? Okay. Does that add up?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 3, to take any other action or other business which may legally become before said meeting. Is there any other action that needs to be addressed at this meeting? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you for coming out.
I've always done that. I'm not sure I ever did this. Yeah.
Sure. Should we?
Good evening. Welcome to the City of Groton Mayor and Council meeting for Monday, June 6, 2022. Clerk, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Deputy Mayor Guinevere Depot, Councilor Rashad Carter, Councilor Paul Norris, Christine Piazza, Stephen Sheffield, and City Clerk Edward Jacome, as well as Finance Director Ron Uhas. Absent is Lisa McCabe and Councilor Christine Piazza.
Please stand and salute the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recognitions, awards, and memorials. Anything from the council? Okay. Well, then that just interrupts my... Okay. Hearing nothing, moving on. Receipt of citizens petitions, comments. Receipt of citizens petitions is the portion of the council meeting where the council welcomes comments from citizens to address the council. Please sign a sheet on the table at the front of the meeting room. When you're recognized, please approach the podium. Clearly state your name and address. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit emailed or written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to the City of Groton. City councilors will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and can respond during response to citizen petition portion of the meeting. Is there anyone that has signed up? Okay, is there anyone that wants to speak? Please come to the table, state your name and your address. Would you like to set? It might be easier for you.
No, thank you, sir. My name will come to standing, but I appreciate your concern. Thank you. Portia Bordelon, 24 Jefferson Drive, Groton, Connecticut. For full disclosure, that's right. Sorry, I'll start again. Portia Bordelon, 24 Jefferson Drive, Groton, Connecticut. For full disclosure, I'm also a Groton Town Councilor, longtime Groton Town and City resident. First, coming off the budget, I just wanted to thank the council for your hard work in doing that as a town councilor. I know it's a lot of work. As I stated in the last meeting, one of my suggestions, and maybe I wasn't as clear with it, but I just wanted to present it, would be nice if the final budget up here might have had last year's numbers, so you could put the fiscal year that you did the previous year's numbers, as well as the percent increase or decrease. And if you wanted to go into a little bit more detail, maybe just what items increased or decreased, because it's great to show increases as well as decreases. Also, adding last year's mill rate on here would be very helpful. The form in which was given today, if you're an involved citizen like I am, and you watch the meetings, as you know, sometimes the technology here is not that great because you do not have a live videographer here. It's sometimes you can't hear it all. So that would be kind of helpful, and it would just highlight the hard work that you guys have done. So my second concern is the Branford Manor concern with mold. I've been attending those meetings. I want to thank the mayor and Gwen for coming out, Councilor Depot for coming out to those meetings. The constituents are very concerned. The qualities and conditions, to sum up here, it's probably not a new thing. For myself, it is not. This has been going on for greater than 20 to 30 years. There is a referral from a council on the town side to bring this up as the town council agenda item. I encourage this town council to look into that, since this is the city side, and also to look at the fact that the town and the city, there was something sent, maybe the mayor probably already sent it to this council, regarding a tax abatement that's given to this company for pretty good amount of money. And there's regulations on there that state that they are to abide by, it was done in 2016, but inspections, space that should be available, a whole list of things. And I encourage this council to look at that and review that, because I was never privy to that either. And now that I have it in my possession, I'm actually pretty shocked. I feel that if this is something we're supposed to be doing, we're abating thousands of dollars for this section of town, then they deserve the quality of life that they're supposed to be doing, and we have an obligation as a city and town councilors to make sure that we represent them. Mold, water leaking down. I was mind-blowing. A woman spoke about every time she gave a child a shower, how it poured into her kitchen. Notices, uncalled notices to fix to the maintenance department, not done. Things in that nature. So I just encourage maybe we can unify together and be one Groton in that sense, in making sure, since this is a large population of one section of town and everybody needs those resources. So I'd love to collaborate on the town side with the city to help out this population. Some of them are getting quit notices because they're speaking up and being bullied and treated unfairly, and I think that we need to act. Second, I did send an email to the mayor as well as Chris Connolly and Heather Summers with an initiative, which it is a state road, the top of, the bottom of Pequannock Road and the top of Clarence B, that hill. I live over there at the end of my road. I live up on Muir Drive. There's buttons on one side, but not on the side where there's actually a sidewalk. And there's no crosswalk there at that corner. And today, as we were walking down, I saw military men in uniform coming through there. Not just that active duty, but also people who work at EB. And it'd be a great collaboration with our senator and our town officials to come up with a way to try to get a sidewalk funded over there. As well as the folks who live in the apartments right there, and I can't think of them, that's the shortest route for them to walk to go to Sneakers, to go to the CVS pharmacy, to go to get food. And I see mothers pushing, carriages that way, because to go the other way in hot weather, it's just impossible. So another thing that I think that we can collaborate on, I did send everything to the mayor, and I hope he can forward it to all of you, but I look forward to working with you guys, and I know that you guys do a lot of hard work, and unfortunately, sometimes I can't attend because I'm attending on the other side, but I am watching the meetings, and I hope that we can do some work. Oh, last thing, sorry. The email I did send to you guys regarding the, one of the things I notice is accessibility and access. And the city side has a larger minority population with the highest number of affordable housing on this side. And with that, I feel the beach pass should not be the same price for a single mother with 3 kids that's identified as maybe low income or under income as compared to somebody else who's living in a house that's $300,000 and is making double the income. Why is their beach pass the same as mine? And when I was talking to these families, they said, I'd never go down there because I just, that extra little bit of money is hard for me. And I was like, wait a minute. So through my, outreach with the whole mold issue and the, things down there, I was trying to kind of encourage them to go to the beach and get out of that situation. And I was realizing how it's not really accessible for them. And that's something we should look to do. That's something you can do with ARPA funding. One of the things with ARPA funding is helping that population. And my last point, ARPA funding. ARPA funding was giving because thousands of people have died, and that was giving a large identifier of minority population were identified with no access to health care and limited resources to recreation and other things in the community. And I encourage this city side, thank you, city side, where there is that population, to make sure those ARPA funds are going to directly impact human services and the community in which we serve, to make sure that they're getting good quality education, tutors, pop-in learning centers. Those are the things that I would like to see on this side of town that maybe the town side might not be doing, but there's a way on this side that we can do such. So again, I implore you guys to do something with the opera funds and make sure that money is directly impacting the people and the reason that we're getting the funds. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, response to citizens' petitions. Deputy Mayor Depot.
I just want to tack on to, I was going to say this during communication reports, but about the Branford Manor, all those issues. I know that I have been out trying to encourage anyone that knows people. I have a few friends who I have found out know people who live there, so I'm trying to encourage them to get the word out, to let us know of their issues, get connected with their neighbors, that kind of thing. So just again, want to keep saying that for people, because I think people are, not everyone watches every meeting, so whatever meeting they catch, hopefully they'll, will get the word out for that. I do want to add that I did review the info about the Pequannock Rainville intersection, and I actually had mentioned to the mayor, because there's a sign that says to stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk, and there's no crosswalk. So, and it is a state road, which makes it difficult. I know that we've had that issue before where we've gone to them and said, hey, you need to repaint this crosswalk, and they take forever to do it. So I recognize that that's an issue, and I have been, we had talked about it before, and I have been kind of passing that way on purpose instead of going the other way I go sometimes to get home, just to either think of some ideas or just review that path. So I am paying attention to that, because it's a safety issue and just an accessibility issue for people who walk. It is a frequently walked path, so it is something that I personally have been following up on, and I do think is important. The other thing I wanted to mention, I don't think I do think it's a good idea to, maybe add that fiscal year, the last fiscal year to the budget line, considering we have it in the budget, probably, hopefully wouldn't take too much more time or effort to put on there. I do think it makes it easier to understand when we're lowering the budget, where those decreases are coming from, so that people can see that. So I do think that's a good idea. And I think that's it.
Anyone else? Counselor Piazza?
Thank you for coming, Portia. Appreciate that. And really good points. In reference to the walking, because I'm a bus driver, so I go down there quite a bit. And one of the things when you're looking at it now, but look at it when it's in the winter. I see a lot of people, and my concern is that they're going to be out in the street and they're going to slide right out in front of us or in front of a car. That may happen because there's no place for them to go because the plowed snow goes up on there. The other part of it is I think a lot of people are not aware that at the top of that, where Rainville meets Clarence B, if you walk straight across from there, there actually is a sidewalk that goes down and hooks up to the sidewalk there. But I think a lot of people aren't aware of it. But that is a dangerous area because I can tell you, even as a bus driver, so many people pull past that crosswalk, and I've watched people wanting to cross and they won't cross because too many cars, and it's a very short light, very, very short. I've counted it multiple times. It's maybe 8 to 9 seconds long. And for a big, huge bus to pull up the hill, sometimes I don't make it through. So it's kind of chanty for somebody to cross. Now, as far as children, I know there are some children that I have dropped off over at Marine Science that actually live down that way. So families have walked from there over to Marine Science or over in front of what used to be West Side. So there is families walking around there. So I think it's a really good point to bring up, and I think it's a really great idea to think about a sidewalk there. So I appreciate you coming and saying that. And I thought it was a good article that was written up in the Groton Times in reference to Senator Blumenthal coming up. And we do have quite a few people at our workplace that live in Branford, and I've been talking to them about this situation and to come forward. And I can tell some, I get the thing that they don't want to come forward, but I have let them know that they can. I've given them numbers that they can call, people they can contact, but it's real important for them to collaborate with us just to reach out if they don't feel like, some people don't want to call the mayor here, maybe they think they're inconvenience us or something, but I'm pushing those numbers also. But thanks so much for coming and representing that again. I appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay. I sent you an email regarding the sidewalk, and I'll go through that here real quick with the council. We are working with the state. We have an engineering assessment. Now what we have to do is we need to get the land from the state. The state will not put a sidewalk on that road. So we're going to have to do that, and then we're going to have to find funding. So I have to get the land, and then we're going to have to get funding. So I will be coming probably to the council next year asking for funding. So I'll be looking for your full support on that line item when we put that in there. As you know, we have gotten some money from the state, the $2.7 million for the Shore Avenue seawall. And so, but I'll also be coming to the council for the remainder of that cost, since you guys committed to, one, you're required to, but you also committed to funding the rest of that Shore Avenue seawall. The crosswalk, we are working with the state in order to get the crosswalk and the lights fixed there. So ARPA funding, we will be talking about ARPA funding soon. And we will look at applications here in the city of Groton. There are applications in the town of Groton that you guys are working with. It covers all the town, and that includes the city. And we will have applications for the city of Groton, and then that will come to the council. And that's it. So thank you. Approval of the minutes.
Mayor, I can't speak after you, can I?
Well, I was getting ready to move on. Or do you wish to speak?
Like 30 seconds?
Go ahead. No, if you want to speak, you respond
It
to
was just, I wasn't going
response
to.
to citizens petitions.
Okay, I
Go
wasn't
ahead.
going to speak, but I sit on the Beach and Parks, as representative of the
the council. In regards to what was mentioned with rates, with low, I
Sure.
guess you consider it low socioeconomic status, that always comes back. I'm passionate about that as well, but you know, as the years progress, it makes sense why there the Beach and Parks Committee has not made an adjustment. And one simply, I think we have to look at it as not to compare it to what somebody pays, to what somebody not pays, or could possibly pay, but as they keep all prices low for a purpose, and that's one of the main reasons, so everybody can afford a beach pass, you know? And that hasn't been the case. If it were the case, if we did have citizens that came to the city and said they could not afford a beach pass, one, I know that the Beach and Parks Director would work with them, or two, we would certainly look at that, but that hasn't been the case, that nobody said that they can't afford a beach pass. I just wanted to note that.
So I'll add on to that. There are two areas that we're going to be looking at this year. One is military rates for passes. One of the things that came up, I asked a resident to come in and talk to the Beach and Parks, and she did, and got their attention. They're going to be looking at that in the future. And for this year, the last Monday in June, July, and August is going to be Military Appreciation Day. So all people have to do is show their ID card and then get in for free. So they're going to do that this year with a review of military rates for next year. And because you brought it up, I am also going to have them look at the income issue. That is a challenge on how do you verify that and those kind of things. However, we can take a look at it and see if there's a way to make it work, see how we can get to yes. So we are going to take a look at that. Okay, anyone else on citizens petitions? Okay, that's it. We'll move on to approval of minutes. Take a motion to approve the mayor and council minutes for May 16th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Take a motion to approve the committee of the whole minutes for May 23rd, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any correction to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Communications and reports. Councilor Norris.
None, Your Honor.
Councilor Sheffield.
Just wanted to bring up, going back to the seawall funding that was approved for the bond money, and that's an excellent news for us as a city. My question would be now, going back to the ARPA money that was set aside by the town, would that now be rescinded since the full amount is now being paid for the seawall, or is that something
Full amount,
separate?
full amount is not received for the seawall. The amount was, the 2.8 million, we had 2.7 million. We had asked the town to come up with 1.4 million, which was half. I went and did research, and we asked for the other half, which we didn't necessarily need to do, but we did. We came up with a $2.7 million. Once we verify that we have access to the bonds, then we're going to have to go out and get another estimate. There's probably going to be an increase, and that's going to be the difference between the 2.7 million and the increase is what I'll be going back to the council for in order to get that budgeted for this year.
Okay, so would that, so we're gonna get the whole 2.7 for us out of that bond money? Will the town be giving back some of it? Obviously, if it goes higher, will the town come up with that ARPA money to balance off any additional cost? Is that kind of what you're saying, or is that? I'm trying, yeah.
Well, I think you went roundabout. So I have
Okay.
$2.7 million.
Right,
We have to find out what the total package is gonna
yes,
cost.
yep,
Once we find out what that total amount is, the difference between the total amount and 2.7 that we're gonna have
right.
is what the town is obligated for.
That's what I said, okay, that's what
That
I
is
was,
correct.
okay, so it won't
I'm
be
hoping
the-
we can get that this year in good faith. It shouldn't be a problem, but if not, I'll come back next year and request it added to the CIP.
Okay, and
But
again,
I do want to get that seawall fixed.
okay, and the next thing was, the bond rating, which, you gave
I
news
was
that,
going to talk about that.
That was good news on that, to where, you know, our credit rating is,
So let's address that for people that don't know. The council knows this. We found out today that our bond rating is going to be increased, improved. It's going to go from AA- to AA. And that is an outstanding thing for us as a municipality. It is, our bond rating is good. The bond rating affects the rate at which we're able to borrow money. And we are going to be borrowing 15,
Just over 28.
okay, 20, total of 28 for all of, you're right, 15's for the one project, sorry. Total of $28 million for utility projects. And so that's going to save us a tremendous amount of money by going from AA- to AA. And that is a tremendous thing. One of the things that will be coming to council here in the near future is they were happy with the procedures and policies that I have in place, and they wanted them codified and run by council, so we'll get them codified regarding fund balance and vision and those kinds of things, so that people can see that. So we've been fortunate the first 3 years. We lowered taxes. The last 2 years, we kept them flat. This year, we're going to lower taxes again by 15%. So that is a good thing. Our fiscal policy is strong, and it will continue to be so in the future. So, anything else?
no, that was-
Okay, Councilor Piazza.
Thank you, Mayor. Just the one thing I wanted to mention was that I did drive the bus for the Groton middle schoolers to the pride flag raising. And I wasn't able to stay, but I can tell you how excited they were to come along and hop on the bus and wear their flags as capes and so forth. And then some of the conversations that followed through, because sometimes on the bus you do hear some of them. Some was sad to hear about some students and how they feel in reference to pride, and that they walk in that and that they're not supported. I'm not going to go too much more into it, but I think overall it's nice to know, to me, to know that Groton City has raised a flag, and I feel like how they were speaking felt a type of support that kind of gave them kind of another building block in their spine to be able to move forward and what they're standing for. So I just want to say thank you for that. And just even bus riding back and forth was good to watch.
Absolutely. Councilor Carter.
I actually have something today. So I have a very, very busy schedule outside of city council, and oftentimes on weekends I can't volunteer or attend certain things to do with the Groton City. And this past Memorial Day, I was fortunate enough to go to for the first time, to go to the World War II memorial event, and it was very, very lifting, and it's right down the street from my house, and I'm surprised and ashamed that this was my first time to sit on that. Did a very good job, and just proud to be a city resident, and that we are able as a community to honor them. That's a very good thing that they have going on down there. So kudos to everybody, including the mayor.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Depot.
Thank you, Mayor. I volunteered at the food box distribution on the 27th. The next one is on June 24th. We can always use more volunteers and anyone that is looking for food. I think especially with the warm weather now, we have a lot of early arrivers. So if you, I think we usually end up shutting down early because we end up giving out all the food, which is a good thing, because sometimes in the winter we would have some leftovers that we would deliver to Human Services or wherever. But so if you can use the food, please come down, come early. Try not to run over the mayor because he likes to direct traffic. But yeah, that's just, it's a great time to volunteer too if you're looking for something to volunteer. It's a Friday afternoon, so it's kind of a nice end of the week thing. And I attended the Pride flag raising on June 1st, and so I saw the in-between part, and I don't think that the mayor expected to do this, but he ended up opening the floor to anyone that wanted to speak. So any student that wanted to speak got to say something, and I think even just at that age, to be able to stand up at your city hall and just say what you want, I think is such a good experience for that age group. And it was just a really nice event. They all were being supportive of each other, and it was a really cool event to attend. So I would encourage anyone next year, it's going to be on the same date, to attend, because it's really cool too to just see the younger kids just being supportive of each other and part of the community. And yeah, so that was really good, the flag raising. And I think that's it.
So I agree about the Pride Day ceremony. It was absolutely tremendous to see that many students come out. They were supported by their faculty and by our staff. And we gave them a supportive environment. Everybody deserves that. They don't always have that. They don't always have it in school. They don't always have it at home. I did. I opened it up. We had 3 speakers, and then I opened it up to anybody else who wanted to speak, and there was one, and then one, and then one, and then they came up and in groups of 2 and 3 and 4, and we had a line of people that wanted to speak, and it was a safe place for them to talk about something that a lot of them deal with alone, and so it was important to give them that space. So the Sub-Ed ceremony, I agree with you. It is a tremendous ceremony, very uplifting, and to see the submarine sailors there, the sub-school sailors man the flags, they're having the flags and the towing of the bells, towing of the boats, is just a tremendous ceremony. There's a lot of, it's very uplifting and can be emotional if it strikes the right chord. A couple things, Groton Bank Day is happening this weekend, so there's a lot going on in the city. So there'll be a shuttle that'll be taking you around. The water taxi will be taking you back and forth between here and New London. Also, the Bill Library and the historic areas are going to, they'll be open, and that people can go to that. So that'll be a lot of fun. The beach officially opens on the 18th, so you'll need stickers to get in. Farmers Market opens on the 14th, and that's a Tuesday, so we'll be doing that 3 to 5. And so that's a great thing that we do here in the city. 3 to 6, sorry, what did I say, 3 to 5? 3 to 6, sorry. Yeah, I don't want to short you an hour. And this year, when we took it over a couple years ago, we were down to 4 vendors. We're up to, last year we were up to 18. This year we're going to be over 20. And then we're going to bring in entertainment again this year. And eventually we're going to have informational booths and things like that. So we are continuing to expand our food presence here in the city of Groton. And as someone talked about, our collaboration with United Way. It's on the 4th Friday. It's at 12:30 over St. John's Christian Church. If you need food or know someone who needs food, please show up. If you can't make it, please give us a call. Call me at 860-446-4103, and we will take your information and we will get you food. No one should, in this day and age, no one should be without food. So, that's important. So, that's all I have for communication reports. Committee referrals. Are there any committee referrals? Deputy Mayor Depot.
So I don't know which committee this should go to, but, or if it needs to really go to a committee first or go to staff first, but in light of the issues in Branford, I don't know that we have, considering that so if we do a tax abatement agreement, it is, we approve it and the town approves it, because the taxes are town and city taxes. To my knowledge, we don't have like a joint policy on reviewing those tax abatement agreements on an annual basis. So considering that those are always a joint effort, so I don't know if that's a staff question or a committee referral to maybe coordinate an official procedure to, at whatever the interval should be, quarterly, annually, I don't know.
Let me reach out to Town Manager Burt
Okay.
and let us talk about it, and we'll go from there. I did not talk about Branford Manor. Let me talk about that real quick, because that is very important, and I've been spending a lot of time and energy on that. I am currently working with senior management and related in order to get the problems that are identified to me, get them fixed. If you're out there and there's an issue with mold or anything else, let me know, but also call Ledge Light so we can get it documented and we can get them to come out, and they will open up a case and they'll evaluate it, and then we'll make sure that we do the right thing to get it remediated. I'm also working with related on other issues regarding anywhere from notices to quit to maintenance issues to opening of the laundry room. We have the laundry room open now, the gym's open now, those kind of things. They're transitioning from some COVID period. Some of the things they have not transitioned well with. The deputy mayor and I have met with Branford on several occasions, and we're continuing to meet with them. One of the big issues is the issue associated with the basements. So one of the things that I've asked for is what is the plan on, there's 144 basements. So what is the plan for the inspection of the basements? So you have to inspect, you have to test, and then you have to remediate, then you have to retest. What is the plan for that? When is that going to be done? And then they have other issues with the PEX piping that's leaking, and they have some other concerns. There is an appearance that the closing of the basements is so that nobody can see what's going on down in the basement and to ignore the mold. I have addressed that issue with Branford, and they assure me that that's not the case. I'm asking for action so that I can see the direction that we're going in, and part of my Navy training is you get what you inspect, not what you expect. So I am involved in that. In addition to that, I have recommended that once they fix the PEX issues, they go down, they get the remediation done in the basement, that they go in and they seal the basement. And they can seal it, you can buy paint out there that is a sealer, and so it keeps the water out. And then they're also going to install these leak detectors. But I've also strongly recommended that they return the basements back to the residents. And when they return the basements back to the residents, that they do the routine inspections. They'll have to define what that is, but they have the residents with them when they're doing these routine inspections so that the residents can see what they see, so everybody sees the same thing. It's all part of transparency. Branford Manor is having a challenge. They've had a challenge with communication, and there's a credibility issue with them. A lot of the residents don't trust them and don't believe them, and they're concerned about a fear of retaliation. I'm addressing that as well. And my thing is, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you're communicating as much as you can so that people understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, and not just, here's a requirement. People need to understand why they are doing what they're doing. And then, once they're ready to turn their basements back over, if there is a concern that people may be living in the basements, because when I talk to people in Bradford, they say, well, they don't know that. But if there's a concern from management, there are people living in the basement, you have people sign an agreement, you sign an addendum. And the addendum is, during the inspections, if it's identified that people are living in the basements, then you get a notice to quit, you get 30 days, and you don't get to advance to go, you're done. So that people are very clear with that. And that way, everybody knows what the requirements are. Now, I don't know if there are people living in the basements or not living in the basements. But one of the things that we're telling asking the residents to do is to make sure that they document everything that they're doing. So when they go put in a complaint, or when they put in their complaint, make sure they have copies of that. When they pay their rent, make sure that they keep a copy of the check or the receipt or whatever, so they have all that. That way, if Brantford comes back and says, hey, we don't have evidence of this, then they have their documentation there. The other thing that I've talked to Brantford about, instead of letting the money come up to a certain amount and then giving them a letter and saying you're out of here, the first time somebody misses their payment, talk to them and say, hey, we noticed you missed your payment. What can we do? Can we work with that? Because they're not doing that now. They got out of that during COVID, and they need to get back into that and communicate better with the residents that are there. And so, and to establish a cooperative relationship with the residents and not a relationship that is combative. Thank you. And that's all I have. So we'll move on to new business. Okay, Councilor Norris.
Couple things mixed in here. Is it possible that somehow referrals that are made to Ledge Light regarding Brantford Manor, some type of status report be presented to you and council, if not you? So for example, Ledge Light has identified there's 6 issues that they need to deal with,
Yep.
that somehow we get to know what those issues are and were they dealt with, and
Sure.
in what time.
I can get that. Do you want them for Brantford Manor only?
Yes,
Or, okay,
because it sounds like, because we're talking about Brantford Manor, right?
we
Yeah.
are right now. Yes,
Yep, so,
absolutely.
yes. Because I think it would be nice if council members got to see the extent or the
Sure.
status of what we're talking about and trying to keep on that. And the second thing, I guess this is a committee referral, I'm not quite sure, dealing with beach passes. If the Community Development Committee, I believe, or does it stay with Beach and Parks to possibly present some type of scholarship program for, I don't know
That would-
how we can get that motion going so that when Director Hill comes and
Sure.
presents her fees, that we're not going, oh, wait a minute, what about?
Do you want to present that? Do you want to refer that to community development and then make a separate referral to Beach and Parks regarding the evaluation of reduced passes for certain income? I'm not sure how we would state that, but we'd understand what that's about.
Yeah, I don't know how I would phrase the referral, or who it would even go to. I guess I would look at your direction. in
Well, for the
that
community
regard.
development would be to develop or to evaluate, you said incentive, or it's not an incentive, but.
A scholarship program.
Scholarship program,
Right. For beach passes.
right? And then beach and park, so we could do that. So let's take that as a referral to community development. And then a separate one to beach and parks for a review of, and let's just go ahead and get this on the record. They said they're gonna do it, but this way we'll make sure that it's captured. For military passes and for
Low-income families.
low-income families.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
That was it.
Anything else? Counselor Piazza.
Thank you, Mayor. So, community development's mine, so I'm trying to understand the scholarship per se. So you're just looking specifically to these two groups? And, I mean,
Well, the military is a separate thing over there. I don't think they need a scholarship.
okay.
But
well, you never
although
know.
they may,
They could, yeah.
because
you never
there
know.
are.
They could fall in both classes.
Absolutely, they could fall in both classes because you have E3s and E4s and E5s with a family, you know, a family of four, and they are at the poverty level. And that's what a lot of people don't recognize. So, yeah, it would be good for both sets to establish a scholarship program for them based on income.
I think, if I may, Your Honor, the resources that Mary Hill could provide you in terms of where you can investigate or come up with a program, as well as the town social services department, they do an excellent scholarship program for town recreation, that they may also be a resource.
All right, anything else?
I just wanted to ask one question. So with Deputy Mayor Depot and yourself, meeting with Branford, are you just keeping it amongst yourselves? And is that at some time the other council members, I mean, I would be interested in going at some time when you go. I could find a slot, but it all depends the day and time, since I know many people that live there, so, you know, just to see
We can make the council
how
aware
the
of
discussion goes and so forth.
when the meetings are. They are meeting on Sunday nights now,
Sunday night?
twice a month. Yep.
Okay. So you'll send that by email to me?
I can see you the next meeting.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is there anything else? And we're gonna move on to new business. Counselor Norris, R-22-06-67.
Yes, Your Honor. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the operating and capital budget for the electric division for fiscal year 2022-2023. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This has been discussed at the committee of the whole. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Deputy Mayor Depot.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-22-6-68, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the operating and capital budgets for the water division for fiscal year 2022 to 2023. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed at the committee of the whole. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Sheffield.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-22-06-69. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the operating and capital budgets for the sewer division for fiscal year 2022-2023. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed at the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Piazza.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 22-06-70. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to issue a purchase order to Springbrook Holding Company, LLC, P.O. Box 200-566, Dallas, Texas, a sole source provider, for an amount not to exceed $65,121.37 to purchase annual maintenance and support from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023 for the Springbrook Financial Accounting System to be paid from the proposed fiscal year 2023 utilities finance and accounting budget. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed at the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Carter.
R-22-06-71. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to issue a purchase order to Communications Plus 84 Salem Turnpike, Norris, Connecticut, state preferred vendor for an amount not to exceed $251,408.62 to purchase state-sponsored digital radios as part of the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection Division of statewide telecommunications system, Connecticut Land Mobile Radio Network, to be paid from the Electric Division fiscal year 2022 approved non-bonded capital budget. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Counselor Norris.
Your Honor, R-22-06-72. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Groton Utilities Management to waive the bidding requirement of Groton Utilities Policy Number 1004, Policy and Procedure governing the purchasing practices of Groton Utilities, and issue a purchase order to Integrated Security Group, 19 Tuttle Place, Middletown, Connecticut, a sole source provider for an amount not to exceed $165,000 and no cents for the purchase and installation of the initial phase of a physical access control devices and video surveillance cameras for the Groton Utilities Water Treatment Plant to be paid from the Water Division fiscal year 2022 approved non-bonded capital project for WTP technology. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Deputy Mayor Depot.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-22-06-73. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council finally approve an ordinance authorizing the mayor and council to approve increases to retirees' pensions up to and including those who retired in 2018 as recommended by the City of Groton Retirement Board. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? This was discussed at the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. In front of you, there is a new resolution, R-22-06-74. I will take a motion to add this to the agenda so that we can discuss and vote on this.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Requires a 2/3 vote since we're adding it on, but it is not a special meeting, it is a regular meeting. So, with that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Councilor Sheffield.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-22-06-74. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council approve the awarding of auditing services for fiscal year July 1, 2021 to July 30, 2022 to Clifton Larson Allen LLP, 29 South Main Street, West Hartford, Connecticut, to be paid from city electric, water, and sewer general funds. I so move.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Ron, would you lead?
This is just to appoint the auditing firm that does the annual audit. This will be year 3 of a 5-year bid that we did, an RFP that we did back for starting in fiscal 2020. And it is an increase of 2% over the prior year. So the total cost for the 22 audit is $58,260 for the city of Groton, which includes the 3 enterprise funds, the electric, water, and sewer, as well as all the city funds, the pension, the insurance, and all that. And it also, Bosra Light and Power has a separate audit that is done, even though it is rolled into the city's financials, but it does have its own report done, and that's $19,770 for a total of $78,030.
And this is to audit the fiscal year that we're ending. So this is, right,
That was my next
this
question.
is, this is for this year.
Okay.
So it's auditing the fiscal year that we're ending in June. They will be auditing it. We just posted a CAFR, the Combined Annual Financial Report was posted on the website. That is for last year. And so we're finishing up the fiscal year June 30th. This is to authorize them to conduct the audit for this year. So next year it'll be last year's audit, right? So they have to audit, they audit the most previous completed fiscal year. and that's the one that we're in the middle of. We're not done with this yet. We'll finish this year at the end of 30 June, and then it's ready for the audit. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Counselor Sheffield?
yeah, I just want, the money's, you said 58,000 for the audit, you said?
Yeah, for the city audit, and then an additional 19,077 for the Basras.
Okay, and where would that money come from?
That comes from Basra. That's out of the Basra budget.
Okay, all right, all right, so, and our money's coming for our budget?
It's
for
divided.
What particular area,
It's
general fund, or?
It's divided between the general fund, the electric, water, and sewer.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on this motion, resolution? Counselor Piazza?
Thank you, Mayor. So when they do audit, I mean, how many days is it, if there's any discrepancies or any concerns and so forth? You know, what timeline do they have to actually bring something that, and how are we get involved in that? How are we as a council get involved in it?
If there was any concerns, it would be a management letter that would come to the council, and you would, actually, we should be getting the packets from them shortly. I mean, you'd see it in there if there was any concerns that they had, or if there's any findings.
And the timeline would be what?
When it's complete, and it's a long process, so this year was delayed a little bit. They had some internal turnover on there, so it was issued in the middle of May, beginning of May. So whenever they finalize it, that's when it would come to you.
Any other questions or comments on this motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.
And we have a budget.